Hello, welcome back to my channel Food Decoded. My name is Yemi Fadipe. I'm your host, and on this channel I help Black people reset their relationship with food, lose weight, keep it tough, and live healthy. In my last video, we talked about matters of the heart and used that video to raise some awareness around the risk factors for high blood pressure and heart conditions among the Black adult population. And I did promise you at the end of that video that I would do a video around eating for your heart. Yes, so that's what we're doing today. We will be talking about how to eat for your heart. So if you remember, we did say that about 6 of the 10 risk factors that we discussed were things that you can control, and 6 of them were actually linked to what we put in our mouth. Salt is the number one nutrient I'm going to talk about today. There's nothing wrong with salt. It's just when you have too much salt in your diet, it increases the sodium content in your blood, because salt is made up of sodium chloride, and too much sodium in your blood vessels draws water into your blood vessels and increases the pressure. Let's not even go into the science of that, but know that when you have too much salt in your diet, it actually increases your blood pressure. What is too much salt? I'm sure you're going to be asking me, how much salt is too much? The maximum recommended amount of salt for anyone above 11 is 6 grams. And 6 grams of salt is just like 1 level teaspoon. Oh yeah, 1 level teaspoon is the maximum amount of salt that should be in your diet on a daily basis, coming from the one you added into the food yourself and the ones that are already in the product. So it's coming from everything that you eat. So you can see that already a lot of us within the Black community, we already eat too much salt. So when I said in the last video that we eat too much salt, I'm sure some of you were thinking, no, my food is not always salty. It's not about when you can taste the saltiness. It's about how much above this recommended amount you are consuming per day. 1 level teaspoon, sometimes it's less than half of what some of us put into 1 pot of family cooking for 1 meal. Not to talk of all the hidden salt that will be in other pre-packaged products that we buy on the shelf. So the fourth thing you want to watch out for to look after your health is to cut your salt intake. You might actually consider removing added salt completely and just replacing that with herbs and spices and seasoning. I tried this a while back, taking added salt completely from my diet. I only noticed or felt it in the first week. By the second week, I was completely getting used to it, and now there's only about 1 or 2 meals that I add salt to anymore when I'm cooking. It's because that then helps you to automatically reduce the amount of salt, and you know that it's just the ones that you don't have control over that is already in prepackaged food. And that is where you have control over, because you can always check your label and make sure that you are choosing food products that are low in salt. If you want to find out how to find on a label, check out the video that I'm linking above where I explained how to read food labels correctly. The second dietary risk factor that I will be talking about today is saturated fats and trans fats. I'm sure you would have heard about this a lot, and I did talk about it as well in the previous video. Saturated fats and trans fats raise your blood cholesterol level. Oh yes, I know you're going to tell me, oh, but there is good cholesterol and there is bad cholesterol. Yes, you're right. There is good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. But when I'm talking about saturated fat and trans fat, it raises your LDL, your low density lipoprotein, and that is the bad cholesterol. That is the one you don't want. That is the one that saturated fats and trans fat increases in your blood. So where would you normally find saturated fat? Mostly, so that you know what to avoid. Saturated fat is high in red meat. Red meat, highly processed meats like sausages, like burgers, like ham, fried foods, processed baked goods, and things like margarine, where the oil has been hydrogenated, are also very high in trans fats. So coconut oil, full fat dairy products, hard cheeses, palm oil, palm kernel oil, coconut oil, if you're using those to cook, those are products that are high in saturated fats. So you want to either stop using those, but I always say rather than stop using those, I would say reduce them to minimal quantity if you can't do without them. Check out my videos on good and not so good oils if you're confused about what can you use if you can't use palm oil or palm kernel or coconut oil? Basic health guideline is that when you're choosing your products, your fat sources, we want you to choose mono unsaturated fats. Mainly, we want you to choose unsaturated fats, but the eldest form of fats are mono unsaturated fats. So if you want to look after your health fat-wise, we're not saying don't eat fat. We're not saying go 100% fat-free. We're saying switch your saturated fats for unsaturated fats, preferably mono unsaturated fats. And some of the sources of that would be things like olive oil, and there are some other products like avocado, like almond and nuts that actually have a high content of unsaturated fat. I've got another video coming around nuts, and so watch out for that. If you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe and click the notification button so that you know when that will be out. The third dietary risk is high cholesterol. This is more or less linked to the previous one, but anybody can have high cholesterol, and there are also other risk factors that can raise your cholesterol level, because we know now that there is this bad cholesterol that does a lot of harm to your heart. Things like being overweight, especially around your middle body, means that you're carrying too much fat and most likely exposes you to high risk of cholesterol. Smoking exposes you to cholesterol because the tar allows cholesterol to stick more to your arteries. And of course, not being active, because exercise is one of those ways that you burn stored up fat. And last but not the least is being overweight or obese. These factors, in addition to consuming saturated fats, can expose and increase your level of bad cholesterol in the blood, thereby exposing you to a higher risk of high blood pressure and heart conditions. Alcohol is the next dietary factor that I want to talk about. There's nothing wrong with alcohol in itself when it is consumed within the recommended guidelines, but when you do not consume it within that guidelines and you overuse or misuse alcohol, alcohol's attack on your heart health is double trump. One is alcohol itself causes like abnormal heart rhythms and a damaging effect on your heart muscle. That's one effect from alcohol itself. So when you use alcohol a lot, your tendency is there to become overweight and obese. And we know that overweight and obesity again increases your risk of heart conditions. The fifth diet factor I want to talk about today is sugar. Yeah. And when I'm talking about sugar, I'm not talking about your fructose. I'm talking about sucrose, the added sugar that we get in every food, because your body digests fructose easily, much more than it does sucrose. How does sugar affect your heart health? It doesn't have a direct effect. Too much of sugar in your diet, whether added sugar or hidden sugars, has a tendency of increasing your body weight, exposing you to overweight and obesity, which subsequently can expose you to high blood pressure and heart condition. So it's not a direct link, it's an indirect link, but it's a risk that is very much present because of the amount of hidden sugars that go into products that we buy off the shelf. So I want to leave us with 5 tips to guide your eating if you're concerned about your heart health, or if you just want to take care of your heart. The first tip is balanced diet. Balanced diet, I'm sure you're going to say, oh, balanced diet is the answer to everything with Yemi. No, it's not just with Yemi. It's just that when you eat right, your body functions right. You don't just eat for your belly. You eat for your entire body. You eat for your skin. You eat for your heart. You eat for your hair. You eat for your eyes. You know, when I started eating balanced diet, I was just learning at the time, and for some reason I had a lot of carrots, a lot of tomatoes, because I was making salads and just experimenting different things. You know what I noticed when I went for my next eye test? Optometrist said, oh, your result is improving. What are you doing? And I'm like, God, I've always known that there's vitamin A in carrots, there's vitamin A in tomatoes, and it's good for the eyes. And I've just been eating a lot of it because I'm trying to learn how to incorporate more vegetables and fruits into my diet. And straight away, I could see the benefit. Of course, I'm still using my glasses, so I'm not saying that it cured everything, but I'm saying that when you eat well, you're not just eating from your stomach, you're eating for your entire body. And it's the same with your heart health. There is hardly any condition, any non-communicable disease that you would check, look at information for, that would not include something around balanced diet. So I'm sorry, you would always hear this from me, and I will keep on saying it until you get it and you start doing it. So what is balanced diet? Your 5 portions of fruits and vegetables a day. You want to incorporate a lot of fruits and vegetables into your diet if you care about your heart, especially vegetables, because they are high in fiber, and fiber helps to regulate your blood cholesterol level, among other benefits. You want to make sure that you're having your 3 to 4 portions of carbohydrates, and again, we want to choose more high fiber carbohydrates than highly processed carbohydrates. You want to have your 2 to 3 portions of protein, your 2 to 3 portions of dairy or dairy alternatives, and your very little oil or fats and spreads, ensuring that you're swapping saturated for unsaturated version. The second tip to guide your eating for your heart is to start by making small changes. It is not easy to make a big change, and when you make a change all at once, it's difficult to sustain it. So if you want to start reducing your salt intake, you might not want to just take it out completely, but just start by reducing it gradually. By the time you reduce salt, you reduce saturated fat, you eat more fiber today, you reduce your portion size to address your weight, all of those small changes in different areas will add up to produce a significant benefit, a noticeable difference in the state of your health. Pay attention to your labels. Most of these nutrients that we talked about today are well known to be the most notorious for high blood pressure and heart condition and a lot of other conditions, which is why in some parts of the world, when you buy prepackaged food, there will be a traffic light label in front for sugar, salt, fat, and saturated fat, so that you know straight away what you're buying and you can make an informed choice. So I would definitely recommend that you will check out my video on how to read food labels so that you understand how this works. For now, you want to look out for the traffic light system, and you want to choose stuff that is mostly low in fat, low in salt, and low in saturated fat. Of course, there is always the balance of whether medium or low, but try as much as possible to familiarize with your label so that you know what you are buying with your money. If you're already diagnosed or if you have a family history, I would recommend you try out the DASH diet. I know you're going to say, what? Yemi recommending the diet? Yes, I know. The DASH diet is just short form for dietary approach to solving hypertension. It is guided by an extensive research by a collection of universities in the United States to address hypertension. And this diet is actually, I don't know why they call it a diet, because it's actually centered around lifestyle changes, focused on solving hypertension, but it helps you to see the kind of meals that you need to eat. Like I normally explain to you, that diets are stuff that you do temporarily to achieve a goal, but that diet is more of a lifestyle, to be honest, a lifestyle to help people manage or prevents hypertension. And from what I've read about it, because I also have a book around it that I've read, so I'm not just saying this to you, I've read it, it helps you to find out the best ways to reduce your sodium content and eat nutrients in the right balance for your cholesterol and your blood pressure level. The fifth and final tip I'm going to give you today is get information. If you're already diagnosed with high blood pressure or any heart condition, or if you have a family history of high blood pressure, you don't want to be ignorant. Get information. There is a lot of information out there. I would recommend you try out the British Heart Foundation. You don't have to live in Britain to have access to it, and you might want to subscribe to their free Heart Matters magazine, because they give a lot of free tips around food, around nutrition, around risk factors, and how to manage those. I hope that you have found this useful, and that the information I've shared with you over the last 2 videos will start to reshape your attitude to high blood pressure and heart condition, and your overall attitude to looking after your health and eating right. You know what I don't want us to hear anymore is this thing around, oh, blacks are the ones that have hypertension, blacks are the ones that have the most coronary condition, because it is not linked scientifically to our genetic composition. It is mostly our lifestyle. So I want you to start to make those lifestyle changes, start to make the right choices when it comes to your health. If you find this useful and you know a friend or a family, I know that there is hardly anyone I know in the black community who doesn't know someone else that is hypertensive or that has heart condition, and I'm sure that for most of you watching is the same. So please share this video with them, and let's start to bring this trend under control within our community. I'd like to hear more from you, so please give me your feedback in the comments. Tell me what you want me to talk about the next time, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so and hit the notification button today so that you are alerted the next time I post a video. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.